Felicitous greetings, fellow fanatics. Welcome back, lords and ladies. I'm Adam the Fanatic, and today we're taking a look at Heart of Crown Online, a digital adaptation of Heart of Crown 2nd Edition, not to be confused with Heart of Crown PC, which is an adaptation of the 1st edition. Please do bear in mind that this is a preview based off of an early access title. As such, nothing is finalized, and anything seen herein is subject to change. Without any further ado, let's dive in! In Heart of Crown, 2 to 4 players will be taking on the role of nobles, trying to first gain the favor of one of a number of different princesses, and then trying to ensure that their princess is placed upon the throne. To start, each player will have a starter deck with 3 apprentice maids and a mixture of 7 farming villages and orchards. Each of the latter give 1 coin, but farming villages come with a minor disadvantage, which we'll get to in a little bit. If you're the first player, you won't have any orchards. Second player gets 1, third player gets 2, and fourth player gets 3, each replacing the same number of farming villages. There are supply stacks of the remaining farming villages, cities, large cities, royal maids, senators, and dukes that are always available for purchase, as well as curse cards which will slow you down. You also have a market deck of 52 cards, consisting of 5 copies each of 10 cards that make up the supply, plus a single copy of the Imperial Capital and the Imperial Crown cards that are always shuffled in. At the start of the game, 8 piles will be formed around the market deck by drawing cards from the deck. Any duplicates are stacked into a single pile, and cards will continue to be drawn until 8 unique cards are available for purchase. Each player shuffles their deck and draws 5 cards, and you're ready to begin. Turn structure in Heart of Crown consists of a main phase, a second phase, and a cleanup phase. During your main phase, you may play territory and action cards from your hand. You technically only start with a single card play, but most cards will have a link, represented by an arrow pointing to the right, which allows you to play another card. Some cards may also have a downward pointing arrow, which means you'll be able to play 2 more cards. On the other hand, some cards, usually particularly powerful ones, will not have any links. You have no open links or no cards remaining in your hand, you must end your main phase at once. Alternatively, you may end your main phase at any point if you no longer wish to play additional cards. During your second phase, you may do one of 3 things. During the early parts of the game, you will almost certainly be buying cards with most of your second phases. During your main phase, any territory cards and some action cards will have coins on them, which you can now spend to purchase as many cards as you can, with the cost of each card listed in the top left corner of the card. If a stack has multiple cards, you may purchase from that stack as many times as you're able, but if you deplete a stack, it is not refilled until the end of your turn. Purchase cards go into your discard pile and will be shuffled into your deck later. The second option you have during the second phase is to nominate a princess to the throne. You may only do this once per game, but you must do it in order to win. Nominating a princess costs 6 coins, but there are a couple catches to this. Firstly, any cards that are used to nominate a princess are placed into your territory and removed from your deck. This means that any of them with succession points, represented by numbers inside of shields, will provide that value to enthroning your chosen princess. It's important to remember that farming villages, while they do provide 1 card each, also cause you to lose 2 succession points when played, which will set your victory back. But it can sometimes be worth it to grab an early nomination. Each princess also has a unique ability. For example, Clan Clam reduces the cost of all future cards you purchase by 1 coin. Flamaria allows you to immediately take 2 cards that cost 5 or less, while Lulu Nasaika simply gives 6 extra succession points as the eldest princess. The final option for the second phase is to set succession cards. When you do this, simply add any number of succession cards from your hand to your domain. After finishing your second phase, you'll move on to the cleanup phase, which has a few sub-steps. Firstly, if you've established your domain, you may choose to keep an unplayed action by placing it onto a territory card in your domain. The territory card in question may not already have an action on it and must be of equal or greater value than the action stored upon it. On later turns, you may recall any action card stored this way to your hand during your main phase. After either storing a card or choosing not to do such, you'll discard all remaining cards in your hand as well as those you played, then draw back up to 5 cards. If at any time you must draw and have no cards in your deck, you'll reshuffle your discard pile and continue using it as your new deck. After that, if there are any gaps in the market, then cards are dealt from the market deck until either 8 unique market piles are available or the market deck runs out. If it does run out, play simply continues without more cards coming into play, but you're probably getting pretty close to the end at that point anyways. To win the game, you must first nominate a princess, then gain 20 succession points. When one player does this, all other players have one more turn to attempt to reach the 20-point threshold. If no other players manage this, then that player is declared the winner as their princess takes the throne. If 2 or more players manage to reach 20 points, then the game goes into sudden death. Any players unable to reach the threshold are eliminated from the game, and play will continue between those that reach it until any player reaches 30 succession points, at which point they are immediately declared the winner. Those are the basics of how to play, and apply to both the digital and physical versions of the game. As for the digital adaptation, let's start with the good. It's a faithful recreation of these rules, and the interface is clear and easy to use. There's no undo function, so you do have to be careful not to misclick. There are options for play online or against bots, but online play is currently limited to select times. Bot play has 5 levels of difficulty, with a 6 currently in the works. As for myself, I seem to consistently win against level 2, but usually lose to level 3. When playing against bots, you must play a 4-player game. You cannot have lower player counts for some reason. As it is, you cannot currently choose the supply cards that are in the market, and instead play with a number of pre-selected sets that rotate in each week. Presentation is more hit than miss here. While the playmat is fairly plain, it does get the job done, and most of the art on the cards is quite nice. Though I must say there is one card that does bother me, as it has what I'll call implicit nudity. While you don't actually see anything, it's pretty clear the character is naked all the same. It really does bother me, especially in what would otherwise be a family-friendly game. But that card aside, everything else looks great, with well-detailed art that shows the kingdom and its denizens. All in all, Heart of Crown is an interesting take on the deck building genre. It clearly takes heavy inspiration from Dominion, but it's different enough that it's easy to recommend to fans of it without feeling like it's just a clone. The race for the princesses and their abilities makes for some very interesting and divergent strategies, though I do question if the orchards are enough to offset the first player advantage. As for the digital version, it shows a solid framework, but at this time, there is a severe lack of features. I'd recommend holding off until it's closer to the finished version, or at the very least, think of it as more of a pre-order that unlocks an exclusive demo rather than a full game. And to be fair, that is more or less the point of early access, isn't it? But even as far as early access goes, the implementation is very bare bones at this time, enjoyable though the game may be. As this is an early access title, I'll not be giving Heart of Crown Online a full review score at this time. What I can say is that it's a faithful adaptation, and while it feels more like an alpha than a beta at this point, it does show promise for the future. Heart of Crown Online is currently available for PC via Steam's Early Access program. If you're interested in purchasing or learning more, links are included in the description. But what about you? What do you think of Heart of Crown? What digitized deck builders do you enjoy? If you have any questions, remarks, or opposing points of view, leave them in the comments down below. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell. If you really enjoy my work, please consider funding my channel on Patreon. Until next time, farewell, fellow fanatics. Thank you again for watching. I have plenty more to share with you if you're interested. You can click up here above my head to subscribe to my channel. You can click over here on my monitor to see the most recent video that I've worked on. Or if you prefer, you can click up here to open this mysterious vault and see what video that the YouTube algorithm has picked just for you.